Are tuned in to Two Gems and a Mic with hosts Tinesha the Diva Mahomes and Linda L.D. Dorsey. Just know, if we talking about it, you need to hear about it. Unwind and enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Two Gems and a Mic. I'm your girl Linda L.D. Dorsey, along with my partner in crime,
Tanisha the Diva Mahomes. Welcome back, folks. Woo! I am so excited about these playoffs. And we got two special guests today.
Bring them
Darren
in.
Smith
Bring them
and
in.
Shaggy Shane.
What's going on, ladies?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey,
we're doing
welcome, welcome.
great. Doing
Yeah,
great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for joining us. I'm glad everything came power pop back up. We ready to go. We're gonna jump right in.
You are absolutely worth waiting for. Let's hit it.
Yeah. Let's start with last weekend, right? So that first we're gonna put them in order, the order that they happened, right? So the first one was the Seahawks and the 49ers. Shaggy, give us your breakdown of this game.
Well, I think Geno Smith came out and he played he's looking like he was playoff ready. You know, many people thought the 49ers were going to walk all over them in four quarters because the 49ers are playing well, since Brock Purdy has reluctantly, well, I won't say reluctantly, stumbled into the job. He's got a great head coach and a great team around him. I mean, Christian McCaffrey was just traded at the trade deadline, and he's added a serious spark to them. But specifically to the game, Smith and DK Metcalf were hitting it off pretty. They were competing with them, and they were up at halftime 17-16. But then the 49ers had that long drive to open up the second half and got it down. And it seemed like the Seahawks were about to answer. And, it seemed like about to have a seesaw game. But once sacked Geno Smith and he turned the ball over, the 49ers really took control of that game, and ran away with it. We saw the big play by Deebo Samuel. What do you think, Darren?
Oh, look, I'm, for me, this is what you're supposed to do if you're one of the top teams in the, in the league. They were 13-4. Seattle was only 9-8. I mean, so overall, San Francisco is a better team, and they showed it. I mean, it's one of the things where, the first half, like you said, it was a 1-point lead, 1-point game that Seattle actually led going into the half. But second half, they just couldn't, they really couldn't stay with the 49ers. And the 49ers, look, you mentioned about the sack, but, defensively, Seattle was pretty good. I mean, they had 3 sacks on Purdy. But at the end of the day, just that talent started to kick in. And when you have Deebo, when you had Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle, when all that stuff starts clicking and everything is clicking and Kyle Shanahan get the play calling, we saw what we saw, 41-23.
Yeah. Tanisha, what's your thoughts?
I mean, it was the same thing they said. It was tight. And then in the flick of the wrist, it was trouble. I mean, it just once it started rolling, they got going. Purdy got more confidence. He had struggled a little bit in the first half, but I mean, he came out, adjusted. I think he got all those nerves out, and dude is ready. He's playing. And I have to admit, I'm impressed. I mean, I thought that pressure would get to him in his first playoff game. But instead, he rose to the occasion. He adjusted, and which means he's absolutely coachable. And like probably most people, I'm waiting for him to have that game where, it brings it all back and it's like, oh, well, there it is. But I'm starting to wonder if he's going to have it. That's what I'm saying. I'm starting to wonder if he's going to have that game. I mean, what if this dude rolls right on over to the Super Bowl? They got a real problem over there in San Francisco. Good problem to have. But, I'm impressed with him. I'm impressed with him. The 49ers are clicking. You get Kittle back. He's healthy. And all of a sudden, I mean, that team is rolling. That team is rolling.
To me, they're a complete team from top to bottom. Shanahan's calling the plays, their defensive coordinator. It's almost like you go back to when Robert Saleh was there as a defensive coordinator. This guy has that same energy, and that defense has that same energy. So watching them, it's like a complete team. I can see them back in the Super Bowl. Like you said, they're going to have problems next year because you got Garoppolo, you got Trey Lance, and you have Purdy. What do you do if this guy takes you there? So
I mean, if he takes him there, then it's his job to lose. And look, you brought up a good point. DeMarco, the defensive coordinator,
Yeah,
it's as though he hadn't really lost a step going from Salah to DeMarco, and so that's just a lot about Kyle Shanahan and his coaching tree as well. That he's able to put the right people in position.
yeah,
Absolutely.
agreed,
Good point.
100%.
Good point.
Yeah,
Well,
let's move on to this next game, the Jags and the Chargers. I think this is one that blew my mind. I'm gonna start
Not
off and then
me.
I'll pass it on to y'all. I'm watching it, and I honestly was the person I was watching. I think Tanisha, you jumped on. We were all like trying to figure out what Netflix movie we were gonna watch.
yeah,
Because I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I was very disappointed because I called and I put a parlay on it. I called the Chargers. I mean, the Jaguars winning that game. So I was so disappointed. Not the fact that they were losing, but the way they were losing. And it was
mm.
like another interception. And I was like, but they never gave up. And then I was like, okay, let's just keep watching. Let's just keep watching. And then we saw what happened, which was crazy.
So what you're saying is you wanted some money.
Nah.
I did. I watched because I picked all the games for the weekend correctly, but that one just kind of blew me away. So we're gonna go back down. I'm gonna start with Tanisha. What you think?
I kid you not. That game shocked the crap out of me. I literally was getting my Netflix ready. I mean, I'm serious. I was ready to pop my popcorn. I was like, this is absolutely atrocious. I mean, pick after pick after pick after pick. But then, I'm gonna tell you what I walk away from that is when you see a team that digs deep like that and comes back. Oh man, that's got to give you confidence for days. And the last time I seen somebody dig one out like that, and like the playoff was when the Chiefs, when
Yeah,
the Houston jumped out on them and was
yeah.
out there playing electric guitars in the air and everything, and before it all turned around, and I saw that same fight in the Jags, and dude, Trevor's he's looking better. He's showing that he's got heart. Hey, that team is
It's a team to
playoff
watch
ready.
out for. We're gonna talk. We're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
talk about
playoff ready,
them.
baby.
Yep, Darren, what you got?
Well, just like Tanisha said, they've been playoff ready. Their last three games have been nothing but playoff games because they had to win to get in. So they're already playing at a high level. I had Jacksonville winning the entire time, even when they were down. I just felt like, Doug Peterson, he was never too high and he was never too low, and he never once looked panicked in that ball game. And so
He never
even after the
does.
yeah, and so even after the fourth turnover, he just went over to not Justin, he went over to Trevor and
Trevor.
was like, "We got this." And look, and people like to get on me because I don't think that Justin Herbert is as elite as everyone claims he is. Look, I think he's a good quarterback, but there are levels to this when it comes to being elite. And look, I'm a big proponent of what Stephen A. says when he talks to NBA Hall of Famers. You just can't be bestowing superstar on players when they haven't won anything. Just because they have a good season or they did this, did that, doesn't make them a superstar. It may make them a star on their team or in their city, but doesn't make them a superstar in the
So let
league.
me ask you a question. With that, you saying all of that about being elite, are you putting that loss at Justin Herbert's feet?
Well, they only scored what 3 points in the second half. I mean, there were things that I don't think they ever got a first down in the second half, and so there were things that if you're that dude, sometimes you got to take it
No,
upon
nobody's
yourself.
saying it. Everybody
No,
else
no, no.
is
Well,
saying
I'm
that he's
asking you.
that
Yeah.
dude or whatever. But I think. Well, go ahead. I'll let you finish. I'll let Shaggy go. We can come back to that
No, I just
because
don't know. I mean, I just don't. I mean, look, I think he's a good quarterback. I just don't think he's elite at the level of Patrick and a few others. I mean, there are levels to this, and I just think that he hasn't gotten there. And look, I do think that he was held back from coaching, for some of the coaching decisions. But you have 27-0, you got to close it out regardless.
Right. And
Well,
go
good
ahead.
point.
Go ahead, Shaggy.
My point is once Jacksonville settled down and quit making mistakes, they were able to play their type of,
Yeah.
the way they like to play, and they were able to come back, just to stop making the mistakes. What I feel like hurt the Chargers was they quit using Austin Eckler. They quit running the
Yes.
football, and they definitely missed Mike Williams. So,
oh, of
and
course.
100%.
so
100%.
You
without Mike
think?
Williams, they were able to stay up on Keenan Allen on the other side and just kind of let the Chargers shoot themselves in the foot. There was a big sack for this. The play of the game for me was when the Jacksonville was still down, I believe 10, and they were facing 3rd and 10, and they blitzed their safety, and Trevor Lawrence ended up losing 15 yards, but they got Joey Bosa for lining up in the neutral zone.
Yep.
Kept that drive alive.
That was yep.
Jacksonville scored a touchdown to pull within 3. That not only would have been a big sack, it would have took him out of field goal range.
Yep.
So I think with Joey Bosa being those critical penalties that he had, as well as missing Mike Williams and not using Austin Eckler to his capability in the second half, I think that's what killed the Chargers more than Jacksonville's comeback. Because if you go back to the week prior against the Tennessee Titans, the Tennessee Titans really slowed down Trevor Lawrence, and it took a blitz, the blitzing cornerback to knock the ball out of Dobbs' hand, which Josh Allen, the Jacksonville Jaguars defensive end, took in for a touchdown. So you were seeing a lot of Jacksonville struggle in that game that, in my opinion, carried on into the first half of last Saturday's game. Are they a threat moving forward? Sure, because they did carry that. They came back from 27 down, but still, in my opinion, I think the Chargers lost this game.
I do.
I agree with you. Let me finish what I was. Okay. Let me jump in. I keep hearing this. Not elite guy. Whatever. If you throw the word out elite because you don't want to throw that word around, I think people are going to have to stop with this. Justin Herbert is not doing what Justin Herbert needs to do. Justin Herbert was failed by his coaches in that game.
Justin Herbert threw 43 passes, only had 1 touchdown.
Yes.
Who's calling the plays? Who's calling the plays? Justin Herbert or the coach?
Joe Lombardi, wasn't it?
Thank you. He's gone. So Justin Herbert's a young dude, and we talk about stuff. So I just think we put a lot of his feet when people come back, but you don't hear that slander of those players or whatever. Like now you hear, oh, what's his name? Lawrence, he's elite. He's moving on. He's elite. But let's forget about his 4. So you got to be right. But nobody ever said that. The only people I think that are saying that Herbert's not elite are a lot of Chiefs fans. Nobody else is calling him.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Let me finish.
When you say somebody like Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback, you're putting him at a level that he's not. I know you, but I'm saying, but if you look at what you hear and see around the league, they always talk about Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrows. So I know you're not saying it, but
I'm not saying. That's what I'm not hearing. But you're not letting me finish either. So I'm not going to put that game at his feet, because if we say that, then what happened last year when the Chiefs lost, when they had that big lead to the Bengals? So are we going to say Patrick's not elite, or he had a bad game? He had a bad game. I think I take the word elite out of it. I think Patrick is a damn good quarterback. Great quarterback. I think. Let me finish my thought, Darren. Let me finish my thought. Let me finish my thought. All right. So he is, and we're not going to turn it into the Patrick Mahomes show, but that's where I think I get annoyed where everything is compared to Patrick.
I agree 1,000%. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Give them their props. The dude had a good season. He dealt with injuries, and I think what killed them is last week when they played Mike Williams. When they there you go, Shaggy. When they didn't need to play Mike Williams, that hurt. I think you put Mike Williams in that game, and you keep running the ball, you win the game. So I think that has a lot to do with coaching.
Absolutely.
But I think we beat that one to death. Y'all think we beat that one to death?
I think so.
All right, let's move on.
But I'm still saying Justin Herbert is a good quarterback.
Trust me, beating Justin Herbert is never a bad thing. He's just ain't elite.
Let's go to you gonna get the last word? You want to say it again so everybody can hear it? Because you got to say
Hayden is looking real bad on you, Darren.
Yeah.
That's not hate. It's facts.
That is hate.
Look, I do understand that you all don't like facts. Facts is a dirty word around it, but he's not elite. There are levels to this. He's not elite.
Say it. We're gonna put that in the highlights.
Stephen Way,
that he's not elite. Right there, you go. So let's go talk about the Dolphins and the Bills.
All right.
That was a better game than I thought it was going to be, because I mean, first of all, I'm from Independence, Missouri. We're losing power over here because we barely keep our city going. But we had our own Independence, Missouri hometown boy, starting quarterback Skylar Thompson out of Fort Osage. He was making a lot of fans here, or a lot of people here in Independence, Missouri, proud because it was the ultimate underdog. He played decent at Kansas State, and he was a 7th round draft pick out of Kansas State to go to Miami. So he was
the second last player drafted
right before Brock Purdy, ironically.
Yep.
But
wow, okay,
he was thrust into play, and I wasn't expecting a game. I was expecting Buffalo to come blow them out, but there was a whole slew of offensive. There's too many. What do they say? Too many chefs in the kitchen. There's too many cooks. I mean, there was too many people trying to get plays into Skylar Thompson, and so many plays didn't get out to the quarterback until it was too late, and it came all the way down. It came even though Buffalo Bills had total yards a whole bunch more than Miami. It came down to 4th and 1 at the 50, and they couldn't get the play in because McDaniels, or the head coach for Miami, thought that
I thought it was first down.
He thought it was first down. So by the time they're out of timeouts, rather than just look straight ahead at the 50-yard line, he doesn't need to listen to a guy on the sidelines, a guy up top to tell him, no, it's 4th down. It turned into a colossal collapse to where it really handcuffed the rookie. But seeing some kid thrust in from Independence, Missouri into that situation, I'm proud of him. He played well, but I feel like the coaches, we're going to talk about coaches, the coaching staff really didn't help Skylar Thompson.
No, not at all. I mean, he had the press conference and he said after the game, McDaniel was like, oh yeah, I was looking down and calling the 1st and 10 play. And then you could see him. And he said, what?
That can't happen.
Like, and that can't happen.
That can't happen in the playoffs, let alone in the National Football League. It's just you have to be ready. You're out of timeouts. It's 4th and 1. You got to know. Use your optics. Just look. See that you're right there at the 50-yard line. What'd you think of that colossal collapse, Darren?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, when you talk about collapse again, we talk about coaching. This is where the coaching let the players down. But also to an extent, the players let the quarterback down as well, because there were a lot of drop passes in the first half, because they could have broken the game wide open to where they should have, and I do believe they took the lead earlier. I think around halftime, or they were close to it, but it was just one of those situations where I couldn't believe just how bad. I think it was like 7. I think it was 20-17. The Bills going into the locker room, but you look at all the turnovers that Miami had, and putting themselves in position. They were still in position, and they actually took the lead, and they were in the lead late into the fourth quarter as well. And for me, it's one of those things where coaching let them down, and to an extent, people, as we're going to talk about soon, people losing their jobs left and right because of little things. And to me, I think the head coach look, for me, these are fireable offenses, that you're doing, because you had a chance to beat, to knock them off, but you're busy vaping on the sidelines, and you're not concerned with, or you're not paying attention to your timeouts, because I think they call all 3 timeouts because they were about to get a delay game. And so it's like, that can't happen, as Shane said. And so to that extent, and look, Josh Allen, he was giving the game away. He had 3 turnovers, and the fact that they capitalized, but they should have brought it home, and that they didn't. And so again, this is going to be a long off season. I know a lot of folks are talking about Tyreek and his playoff exit.
Ain't nobody worried about Tyreek.
Yeah, but but be that as it may, this is a game that the Dolphins should have won and blew it.
Yeah, right. Tinesha, what you got?
About everything that y'all just said. There's no need of beating that dead horse. I mean, the coaching staff definitely let that kid down.
Yeah.
They should have had some of that rehearsed. I mean, you have to practice those situations, that situational football. There's no way in the world you should be on the wrong play. I mean, this guy is probably nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs as it is, thrust it out there, and then you get the opportunity, and then you blow it. So yeah, I mean, I think Skylar did very well. Going in that game, I gave them very little chance, and I was impressed by what they were able to accomplish, all to be let down, with some tomfoolery.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think at that point, a Tom Brady or somebody with that experience, I'm going to say Tom Brady because I really do believe he would have been like, he would have known the whole situation. And if something wasn't coming in from the coaches, he would have known. So he's going to call a play. And he knows a play that he's going to call. This kid didn't have that experience. So no knock on the kid. The coaching staff's got to own that one. Darren, I think you said they should be, I don't think everybody should be fired. I think it was a learning thing for them, because then you bring a whole nother, because when you look at their season, if they didn't have some of the issues that they had with Tua going out and all that, wasn't a bad season.
True
They
that, but
just
their
got
their big
injuries,
coach is
and
fired for
then it's
less, and we're
like
gonna talk about that.
I understand what you're saying, and it's a bunch of them that's been fired for less. But do you continue on that trend? So if Tua's coming back, which they say he is, he had a good team. Everybody learns from whatever, and you hope that they stay safe, stay healthy, because you didn't have Teddy Bridgewater, and you were down to a third string who played what 2 games. So a lot to build on there with the coaching staff, and I think those conversations are going to happen. You can clear those things up. It's
Yep.
unfortunate that happened in the playoffs, so you're gone early in the season.
Absolutely.
Something like that happened. It never happens again. That will never happen again with that team. So let's move
Yep.
on to one of my favorite games of the weekend.
I bet.
We'll let you start. Go
I'm,
ahead and
I'm,
jump in. Be
I'm,
proud.
yeah, I am. I'm very proud. And you know me, I've been calling him what? Danny Pennies, Danny
Yes.
Nichols. Wouldn't give him the
Danny
dimes.
Nichols.
I'm gonna call. He played like Danny Dollars. He played like
What?
Danny Dollars on Saturday.
Where
I
them
was in,
dollars at?
I
Where
was
them
impressed.
dollars at?
He played a good game. I mean, he broke or set a
He had a
playoff record,
historic record.
300.
I think he
Yeah,
300
300
yards,
plus
75
yards, and
rushing yards, and a couple of
yeah,
touchdowns. Yeah,
I mean, he was
pretty
playing
good deal.
like he was just clicked, like he was locked in. And the defense was playing well. But
Yeah.
here's the thing, right? I'm not going to get too high on it. I love it because I didn't even expect us to be in the playoffs. And when the season started, I think we were doing our preseason stuff. I said we weren't going to be in last place. I didn't expect us to be in the playoffs. But I'm going to tell you this: I have no confidence, and I've told you this all year long, in Kirk Cousins. So was I shocked about it? No, because I picked it. Kirk Cousins is not that dude.
Yeah.
My
Wink
piece.
Martindale, the defensive coordinator for the Giants, really had a good scheme. You know, he did this. That who was the defensive tackle number 72? Wasn't he Lawrence?
Lawrence
Yeah,
from Clemson.
yes,
Yeah,
he was
yes, he's
causing
a
a bunch
beast.
of havoc. He had Kirk Cousins so flustered
Rattled.
flustered, rattled, Pickett. I mean, either one on 4th and 8 with the season on the line. I think Kirk Cousins was anticipating Lawrence coming up the middle, that he just dumped it off to the
Man.
tight end for 3 yards, which
Yeah,
was
Pitiful.
just
which was
baffling.
insane.
Atrocious.
Like when he threw it, I had to look down at the TV and I said, "Okay, that's 4th down." Because I'm
Yeah,
thinking, was it 3rd down? He's just trying to pick up something.
Mm,
And our guy, it was a
mm.
great open field tackle. The other guy that was on him was Thibodeau.
yeah. I tried to go
That
back and watch the all 22 footage of it to see, okay, what was he thinking? What was he anticipating? And the only thing, and I'm not trying to give Kirk Cousins the benefit of the doubt, because it might sound like I am, but he was anticipating getting hit by Lawrence, who was coming through, but he still had time to at least make a play and look downfield past 8 yards. Just
Shaggy, that was the thing, because nobody ever got to him. So when he threw the ball, you could see his face. He was like, "Damn!" Like I
right.
choked on that. He choked.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Tanisha, after you saw that?
Man, I thought Kurt Thuggins let me down. I've been giving the dude the benefit of the doubt all year. Linda been on him. I mean, been stumping his neck out the whole year. I've been trying to hang in there for Kurt. And I'm telling you, man, this son gun went up there and choked. And I got to hear this, all day. I just went. That's why I let her go first, man. I just couldn't believe it though. You just couldn't tell me that Minnesota shouldn't have won that game. And I mean,
Giants,
it just went bad quickly. I was like, what is he doing? But you're right. Pressure burst pipes. He was nervous. That's what happened.
in totality, it was the Giants' game. You could feel in the fourth quarter that the Vikings were trying to keep up with the intensity that the Giants brought. Like I said, Wink Martindale had a great scheme. They were more physical. That defense really. Where was Justin Jefferson? Where was he?
Dude, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
But I told Tanisha for the last
Yes.
what was the last 3-4 games, and I said if they're paying attention, and Mike Martindale, he's a good defensive coordinator. If they're paying attention, Jefferson ain't been hurting nobody in the last 3-4 games. So whatever, that's one thing I hate about some of these games when you watch them on TV. You can't see what's going on downfield, what's covered, what's not. So he did get open for cover, but I got to say our secondary played great. I thought they played a great game, and I was really impressed with him because I thought he was going to be a problem. And I told Tanisha that may be the problem, but I was sticking with my Giants because I think when the Vikings scored and we came right back and scored, I was like, okay,
but
I'm feeling this team today.
I'm gonna say this though, man. I'm gonna say this, man. That damn Dayball, Man, he has
Man,
gotten the best out of Danny Dimes. Do you hear me? He is
word.
hands down to me the coach of the year. I mean, this dude is literally taking players and finding out what they do well and scheming it up. And you got to give them props because nobody thought y'all were gonna be in there, and nobody definitely didn't think after watching how Minnesota started that you guys would go in there and make them look crazy.
No, they
Right.
were
So
13-4. They
that's
were
what I'm trying to
13 and
tell you.
4. We were 9-7-1. I mean, and we had to go to their house to do it. I mean, Darren, you've been quiet on this one. You don't want to give my Giants no
Yeah,
props.
jump on in there,
Yeah, I
Darren.
mean, I'm trying to let everybody say they take. I don't want to be, so just
Man,
make
you
sure
kind of
everybody
shook your head on my
got a
day ball quote, so go ahead.
No, no. I just think, to be honest, I think he's going to win, but I think Doug Peterson deserves a lot of credit and a lot of votes for Coach of the Year. You remember the Jacksonville Jaguars did have the number one pick 2 years in a row, so and they were horrible last year to come back to win to win their division crown and advance in the playoffs as well. So I think they did something that the Giants didn't do, which is win their division. Now, be that as it may, when it comes to this particular game, this game reminds me. If you stop and think about it, I know Linda will. This reminds me of the 2007 New York Giants. You got to remember the last game of the season. They went toe to toe with the New England Patriots. Lost. I think they lost a close game, and they came back in the
Sure
Super Bowl
did.
when they
And
faced
did
again.
what?
This
They
this
make them
this was
one.
just like, and this was just like this, where they faced each other Christmas Eve. Game went down to the wire. I think the Giants threw an interception or something, but the Vikings ended up winning that game. It was a close game, thing like
It was with a 62
24-22.
yard, 61 or
Yeah,
62-yard
yeah.
field goal with no
So
time left. Yeah,
yeah,
No
yeah.
time.
so for me, the Giants already had the blueprint to what it was going to take to beat the Vikings, and they did this time around. So for me, to be honest, if I know the Vikings are talking about bringing Kirk Cousins back, but I, you know, I would have went after Deshaun Watson last year
Look,
instead of Kirk
you
Cousins
see my
because
face?
yeah,
You didn't hit him with
you
the
know,
please, did you?
because the
He
Vikings
he's
are just
he's
not
not
that.
gonna get you there. And I
He's not.
watched that.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
I
I
mean, and
watched
you
Jefferson
need.
walking up and down the sideline, and I'm thinking, he thinking, for real?
Well, and the other thing too, there's no excuse for you to not get the ball. Even if you, I mean, hell,
Throw it at him.
you got to throw the ball to Jefferson. Hell, you threw it in triple coverage when you beat Buffalo, and then you
Not
go
Thank
even
throw it
you.
to him.
That's what I'm saying.
Jefferson. You got Osborne. You
No,
got
no, I
Thielen.
get it. No,
You
I
got
get it, but
Hawkinson.
but
Man, he
that
got a
but that very
plethora
I get it,
of talent to throw the ball to.
And
but
Thielen.
that very last play, you throw that ball to Justin Jefferson. Period.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you
I'm
might get
trying
a
to think
flag
of
because they'll throw a flag on us at the end of the game because like they tried to get him.
Well,
They gave him 15 yards when they called that a roughing the passer, and that even the commentator and whoever the official is he was like roughing the passer. He's like he still
Yeah.
had the ball when he tackled him. So it's like
I've seen
I
worse.
always feel like I was like, here we go with the nonsense. So that's
Yep.
what I was thinking.
But
But
shout out to the Giants. So
yeah, we'll see. We're
Absolutely.
gonna talk about what's coming up. This game, I don't know who wants to start here on this game because I just wasn't.
I'll start because I look kind of like the Miami and Buffalo game. The Ravens should have won this game, and obviously it turned on that 14-yard swing when the quarterback
Mm-hmm.
tried to do, I guess he thought he was Trevor Lawrence and tried to throw, try to dive across the goal line and it got punched out and he swung up and down. He's like, no, it wasn't a touchdown, bro. You was a
Nah,
yard short,
it
and they
had to be
ran it
about
back.
3 yards when he jumped.
Yeah, so I mean, look,
Yeah,
I think to an extent, I think Harbaugh kind of let them, kind of let Hundley down some because they were in this game. I mean, man, they were. I mean, it was a hard hitting, but again, just like the Dolphins and the Buffalo game, this is what happens when you have division rivals face each other for a third time. And so
yeah, yeah.
I never thought it was going to be a
Mm-hmm.
blowout. It's going to be close all the way to the end. And again, I think Baltimore should have won this game, but the Bengals pulled it out.
The Bengals have had, I think, a rabbit's foot in some of these
Mm-hmm.
games that they've won. Shaggy, what say you, Shaggy?
I think that the Bengals survived by the skin of their teeth. They lost two offensive linemen, and
Yep.
Marcus Peters was in there being Marcus Peters with swagger. I think he got in their head because T.
Yep.
Higgins and the other receivers they were doing much, and
Not much at all.
that Baltimore Ravens defense kept. Along with the with Cincinnati Bengals losing their offensive line, their left tackle, and they had a backup right tackle coming in, and I think their guard was injured, and their defense left them every chance Baltimore Ravens defense kept they're in the game to win this game, and man, they milked the clock when they were getting down the field. They didn't have a good 2-minute drive, and it wasn't good. What do you think, Darren?
I mean, 2-minute drive was what it was, but again, I thought some of it had to do with coaching.
Yeah, yeah,
And again, at the end of the day, I think the coaching failed them because they never really got a chance to really put Justin Tucker in position, saying to kick some extra field goals. So, but overall, again, this should have been a game that the Ravens, including the Dolphins game, that they should have won. But it sets up good things for the divisional matchups this weekend.
yeah. Things happen. Tanisha, what you think about the game?
I mean, the coaching let them down. Same thing they said. They didn't miss anything. I mean, I knew it was going to be closer. I knew it was going to be closer than people were saying it was going to be. I didn't think it was really going to go down to the jumping and him over there thinking he on the one and he's 3 yards out and thinking I mean I'm not sure what was going on there, but I thought they, the Ravens, played and they gave it what they could, and they came up short.
Yeah.
And the Bengals escaped. We'll see what happens next week.
They did. All right, let's talk about this last one, the Monday night game. The Bucks and the Cowboys. To me, Tanisha, I'm a Giants fan, so I'm not a Cowboys fan. We know that's clear. The game to me was I wanted a game. It was a disappointment. I thought the Cowboys played a good, solid game. I know everybody's like, "Oh, that's all we need to do," and so they move on to the next round. And to me, it wasn't the Bucks. The Bucks were garbage. I thought the Bucks were garbage. I don't know why they look like garbage. I mean, they're gonna blame it on everybody. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But I just thought,
they had a lot of injuries of this season. I mean,
yeah.
He lost Ryan Jensen before the season even started, and players were dropped. Hell, Julio Jones got injured, I think, in the first game, even though he caught a touchdown. I think he got injured in the first game against the Cowboys, and was coming back.
When has Julio been healthy? When's the last time?
No, I get that. No, I get that. Which is
the 80s
makes you makes you scratch your head as to why they even went after him. So
right.
I mean, Leonard Fournette, he came into camp overweight, and so there were a lot of things that did not work in the Bucks' favor throughout the season. And then Tom Brady, as the reports were talking about, changing plays and stuff, and meeting with the players before the night before games and stuff, and there were a lot of things, and of course, as usual, we know who got blamed for it. So that's my thoughts on it. But I will say this. We got to give Dak credit because he is the quarterback of the Cowboys. We do hold Dak to a different standard than other quarterbacks. Whether he's with the Cowboys or not, or around the league. I thought he played probably one of his best games, if not his best game, as a starting quarterback. Now the question, which is fair to ask, is can he be consistent, and will it carry over to next week's game against San Francisco? But in this
look
game,
here, party pooper. Let me take over.
Hold on. As they one off, I think Dak played extremely well and should be Player of the Week.
He is.
He probably will be.
Dak went out there and played his butt off and showed the naysayers, and everybody all week all I heard was Tampa Bay this and Tampa Bay that and who's getting fired on the team, who's getting fired on the Cowboys, and McCarthy's out of here, and which I believed he was too, though, to be honest. If they'd lost that game, he'd have been out of there. But Dak did what he needed to do, and I'm happy to say that that's my quarterback.
Oh, whatever.
And we got that done.
Okay.
And I was also you said why that pressure. They was on Tom like white on rice. You hear what I'm telling you? And you saw it. He couldn't get rid of that ball fast enough. He was circling. He was throwing and doing a circle at the same time, getting ready to dodge the hit. We was on him. And that's what happened.
He looked very uncomfortable
defense,
all
baby.
night. Yeah, all night long.
Give him some props.
Yeah, he looked very uncomfortable. Shaggy, what you say about the game?
Like I said on the Big Mahomes show right here, see? I said on the Big Mahomes show in the spring, it's going to be the Chiefs and the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. I don't just say that because I'm trying to butter up to the Mahomes family because I love them. They're good people. But I think Tony Pollard doesn't get enough credit as a running back. And you throw in Gallup and CeeDee Lamb along with that defense with Micah Parsons. And Who's the Alabama cornerback that me and you, Tinesha, talked about 2 years ago, got drafted, that led the NFL in interceptions last year, that's arguing with Steven Smith? His name is
Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah.
Diggs.
I wanted the Chiefs to draft him, but we took Clyde, but that's another story for another
Yep.
day. But the Cowboys are a good team. When they want to turn it on, they can. And in my opinion, all they got to do is beat the 49ers and the Giants or Eagles, and they're in the Super Bowl. So they just got to keep playing at a high level. I don't know what's going on with the kicker. That's another story. I don't know if.
Well,
I think he'll be fine. I think he kicked it out of him.
Nah, they already got somebody on the way.
They got a guy. They signed somebody to the practice squad, but they let him kick the last field goal and the last extra point. I think he got it out of his system. But let's take a quick break, and we're going to talk about this weekend's games coming up. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Two Gems and a Mic. Let's jump right on in here, and we got our matchup, so we're going to keep them in order. Who's playing? Yes. Let's start with the Jags and the Chiefs. Shaggy. Talk to me.
We ain't stretching it out, are you, Shaggy? Just get ready.
This is a game where the number one seed in the AFC is obviously the Kansas City Chiefs. They are the better team. You never underestimate their opponent, but the spread is, I believe, 8.5 or 9. This is Patrick Mahomes' legacy. I mean, he's one win away from going to his 5th straight conference championship game in all 5 years of him being a starting quarterback in the NFL. Every time we talk about Patrick Mahomes' stats, we always say it's unprecedented. But I guess as we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, it's not, because it's just the way it is. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the National Football League. This is his game. It's his team. And I think the Chiefs will win this game 34-17. What do you say, Tinesha? Talk to me.
I'm going to let you know. I'm expecting the Chiefs to go out there and get it done. I mean, they've had the bye week. Excuse me. They're off. They're ready. I know where Andy is good at preparing when he has that extra time. I'm expecting them to go out there. I'm expecting those fans to pump them up, and I'm expecting them to show them all kinds of stuff that they haven't seen. I believe that the Chiefs have been hanging on to some trickery and some plays and some things that they're going to unveil. And I think the Jags are just unfortunately going to be the ones to get the short end of the stick on that. I think this is the Chiefs. It's going to be the Chiefs game, and I'm not sure if it's going to be 34-17, but the Chiefs will win convincingly. Absolutely.
Darren?
Well, I mean, it benefits me professionally if the Chiefs win, and I do believe Kansas City wins. Look, I think Tanisha nails it on the head that Andy Reid is very well, and coming off of a bye week, having all that time to prepare. I think the biggest thing for the Chiefs to do is they have to match the intensity of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars have been in playoff mode in the last 2 weeks, so it's going to be very important for them to match the energy right off the bat. And I think you're going to get a lot of that with the crowd, especially based off of the comments that Trevor Lawrence had made. Now, Shaggy made an offhand comment about Patrick's legacy. To an extent, I think this game kind of mirrors that, because you have to think about it. The last time we saw this team in the playoffs, they were walking off the field in Arrowhead in a loss in the AFC Championship game. How do you respond back? Well, so for me, this gives me an idea of what kind of measure of a man are you, or the team, to be able, to come back and just, look, you are the better team, record wise and everything else. You beat this team before. You beat them by 10, even though they scored a late touchdown. It was a bigger spread. I think you had them by 17 before the late touchdown.
And they won that game too with 3 turnovers.
Yeah, and so
absolutely.
Think about that. Yeah,
Patrick had 4 touchdowns and an interception, and the kick, Harrison Bucker, missed the kick. So this time around, I want to see how Kansas City responds. Go out there. You know you're the better team. You have the
Play
home field advantage.
clean.
You got everything. Play clean football, and get out of there. I got the Chiefs winning 30-21.
Okay.
What do
I
you think,
think
Linda?
I think yeah, I think Chiefs. I think Chiefs hands down. I don't think the Jaguars just fold up because I think it's a great. They have a great coach,
They're an awesome
Yeah.
so they're
coach.
not going to go out. And that's the kind of coach that prepares them to say it doesn't matter who you're playing, right?
Yeah.
So he's that guy. But like you said, the intensity the Chiefs have to come out with that, and I think they will because
Mm-hmm.
they have a great combination. And with the combination, I mean the coaches are going to prepare them. The
Yeah.
fans are going to pump them up. You got young dudes that are excited and pumped up because they're in the play. This is their first playoff game. Then you got some veterans that are like, yep. So you put all that in, you got your perfect storm, and the team I think can play a. We know what they can do. It's just
Well,
a matter of going out there
and
and
one
doing
other
it.
thing too. One thing that you have to watch out for. You got to watch out because they'll try to steal the next possession like they did in the first game, where they, first play of the
Onside
game,
kick.
they did an onside kick, got the ball back, and even though they didn't score, but that was something that you
But
have
their
to watch
overall,
out for.
I mean, the Chiefs special teams,
Yeah, no, I get,
that's
no,
a
I get it.
chink in the
I'm
armor.
saying
But this
that's one
guy
of the things that you have to watch out for.
Agnew, who returns the kicks, he's been
It's trouble.
he's
We
like
gotta watch
he's
him.
like number 5 in the league for return yards.
Absolutely.
So you got to watch this guy because that could be you can go down and score, and this guy comes back and he's got them lined up at the 50-yard line because he's doing that. So you got to have your special teams. There's things, and they're gonna have to make adjustments. I'm not saying the Chiefs is gonna come out and it's gonna be like it was last week or whatever with the 4 interceptions of this that. But if the Chiefs stay focused, play their game, I don't think you can. They are the better team.
Yeah, I was hoping that
One last,
we'd get McCole back right here and maybe get some good returns on, with McCole and
that's what
unfortunately
Kadarius is
we're
for.
not gonna get him back and so hopefully, we can get some good field position and get rolling and match what they're doing and and knock this game out. Do handle your business. You had a
Well,
week
Shaggy,
off.
what you
and
got?
look, hold on. And the biggest thing is, got to keep in mind, because the Chiefs beat the Jags, the Jags are going to make adjustments from what happened the first game. The question is, what
They both
adjustments
should.
will, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
What
because the
adjustments will
Chiefs had
Kansas
3
City make?
turnovers. So if you play a cleaner game, you still beat them by 10 with 3 turnovers in that game.
No, no, I
So
get that.
you
But
make
what
those
I'm saying is,
adjustments.
I get that, Linda. But what I'm saying is that you think about how they, the year they lost the Super Bowl, they went down in Jackson. I mean, they went down in Tampa and blitzed them like 28-0 to start the game off, and they held on to win that game later on in the game. But Kansas City didn't make it. Now we know the situation, but Kansas City
Well,
didn't make
everybody
any
was hurt.
adjustments.
Who was hurt? Who
You
I
talking
mean, who
about
was
No,
healthy?
no, no, no,
When
no,
they
no.
played in the
The
Super Bowl,
offensive
who was
lineman.
healthy?
Yeah, but I'm saying, but you still had a whole week. Yeah,
nobody
The
but you still.
quarterback wasn't even healthy. He was running. He ran 500 yards, but he wasn't
on a
healthy.
plate.
We know that.
I
What
get
the
that.
following week he had surgery. So you weren't going to
Uh,
win it. Nobody was going to win that game. Nobody that
I
played
think
against Tampa Bay
Not
was
with the
going to win that
practice
game. But
squad.
Shaggy, what you got?
I was going to say Jacksonville gets our respect. Doug Peterson and Andy Reid are tight, but I think what we're going to see is we're going to see the elite level of the Chiefs play against Jacksonville, similar to when the Indianapolis Colts came back from the Chiefs 9 years ago in the playoffs. They were down 38-10. They won an emotional game at home. Then they went to New England, and you saw who the better team was, even though the Colts were bringing in that momentum. Similar to 20 years ago when the San Francisco 49ers were up 36 or down 36-14 to your New York Giants. Jeremy Shockey, the 49ers came all the way back, and then after the 49ers came back, they went and they lost to Tampa. I just think that the Chiefs are going to be the better team, and they'll take care of it.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree. I think we
Absolutely.
all agree the Chiefs are going to do it. I think it's just going to be how did they do it? I don't think
Yep.
there's a doubt that they'll do it. How do they do it? All right, so I'm this game
Woo!
here. Yeah, I mean, when you playing somebody within your division, it's tough. I'm not counting my Giants
Always.
out. I don't know what Hurts is gonna look like because he's hurt. He's still injured. So that takes away the running, or you're like, what do you do? Because you could win this game and then you don't have a Hurts. Or it's a playoff game, so I'm going all out. I'm gonna run. I gotta do everything I gotta do and deal with the pain. So I don't know. Let me hear what y'all say.
What do you think,
Give it
Darren?
to
I mean, I think this is going to be a good game for the Giants. Again, division foes. I think the Eagles swept them in the regular season. The Giants do have some momentum, but I just think talent wise overall, and I don't even care the fact that Jalen Hurts might not be 100%. I think it's going to be a good game, and I do think the Giants put points on the board, but I just think when it's all said and done, the Eagles are just going to be too good and too strong, both on offense and defense, against the Giants, that they'll pull it out.
I think talent wise, so I agree with you there. If you look at it on paper, we don't match up well with them because shit. What do you say, Tanisha? We don't even know. I gotta look
You
at.
know, half
I gotta look. I don't
half
know
the
half the
time we
play.
watching the
I'm like, who
game,
is
I'm
that?
like,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm like
telling you who
looking.
your rookies are.
Yeah, I'm like, who is that? Who caught
I'm
that
like,
I
ball?
no,
still don't
that's
know who the wide
Hodges, that's
receivers are.
Bellinger, that's Bellinger. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I
telling. Well, you
mean,
know,
these are guys that like are popping out of nowhere. They came up from the practice. They weren't on the squad.
yeah,
You know, I can tell you who Kenny Galladay is. You know, I can tell
yeah,
you who Darius Slay is. But you know,
yeah.
Slay's catching stuff. He almost messed us up last week. But
Bellinger.
Shaggy, yeah, Shaggy, what you say?
I think Giants defense, if I know Jalen Hurts is better than Kirk Cousins, but I think that if Wink Martindale comes out with a scheme and if they keep playing physical, I like the Giants' chances because of they're playing with momentum, and to compare them to coming in to play in Philly is different than the Jacksonville coming to play in Kansas City, because while Philly is the number one seed, are they that much different? Linda, you got to see them play the Eagles twice this year. How did the Giants look the last two times, or the last time they played against Philadelphia? That's
Well, you know, the last time we played them, it was like we weren't even playing anybody, right? They needed to get that spot. We weren't. Their game wasn't going to move us up
It was
or
the
move
final
us
game
down.
of the season. It was just 2 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we didn't even care. So it was like one of
Right.
those. Just don't let anybody get hurt. We don't even
Right.
care who plays in this game. They win. They needed that win, and they couldn't take a chance. So that's why they put Hurts out there, and he played to guarantee them that number one spot because they couldn't give it up. So I don't know. I think that might have played to our advantage because you didn't get to really see us twice.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you saw us once and you beat us, but the team that we are now has just been clicking. And I'm like, and like you say, for coach of the year, I'm going with him. I mean, the coach from Detroit, he could have been coach of the year. Peterson could have been coach of the year. I just think this guy, with everybody that was, went down, that was hurt, and all that other stuff, and the quarterback, because Daniel Jones is not a number one quarterback. He wasn't drafted as a number. You know what I'm saying? So what he's playing with, and like we say, unknown. When you're a fan, and I bleed blue, and I don't know who half the players are, I got to look them up. It's time every game. I'm like, who's out there? Who's out there? You know what's going on?
Daniel Jones was
That's
a
a
6th
testament to
overall
the
pick,
coaching.
wasn't he?
Oh, Daniel Jones.
Yeah, he was a 6th
Yeah, but
overall.
it wasn't the right
You see
pick.
them.
I didn't say it was right, but I'm just saying he was. When
Okay.
he said he wasn't the number one
Okay.
pick, I was like,
Yeah. No,
But
I'm just
Barkley's
saying, like
balling
compared
too.
to
Saquon
what?
Barkley looks really good out
Oh,
the
he looks
backfield.
really good. He looks
Man,
really
he
good.
looks
Yeah.
like, keep in mind, we don't see a lot of Giants games here in the Midwest because we're focused
Right.
on watching the Chiefs or what's going on in the AFC West. But in what I've seen from Saquon Barkley and the limited snaps I've seen this year, he looks really good. So if he can keep him in the game,
He's catching the ball. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's catching the ball well, and his backup Matt Breeder's playing well.
right.
I mean, and they're a little loose. I mean, they did that Statue of Liberty play. They're a little loose. Daniel
Yeah.
Jones is running good. I mean, I always thought he could run. He
Right,
just didn't
right.
run enough for me because I'm like, dude, run out of that. Like you're just sitting in the pocket, like moving your feet, not going anywhere. So it's just like in the last 5 weeks, because we went on that slump. I was like, are we gonna make it to the playoff? It's like he's really got focused and improved, and that team has a lot of confidence in him. I have a lot of confidence in our defense. So I just want to see what they bring because they're gonna come. They got some pride. They're gonna come with it. So they got
The
some
Giants
pride.
are going to get better, especially offensively with Brian Daboll as their head coach.
Oh yeah.
We saw Josh Allen get better each year, and I think hopefully for your sake that we'll see the same thing from Daniel. What do you think, Tanisha?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I think Philly's gonna pull it off, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Daniel Jones is. You get ready because they about to sign him. They about to give him some good old money. I've been trying to tell you that they gonna pay this guy. And I also think you guys are going to put up a really good fight here. And I really don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it's 50-50, more like 60-40, but you guys have a really good chance. If y'all can scheme this up right, y'all might can go out there because I'm not sure that Hurts is healthy enough.
I don't
Like
think he
you
is.
get out there and it gets tight and you trying to air it out and you're not quite right, I'm not sure that he's 100% healthy. And I think that might end up, costing them. Trying to do a little too much.
I agree. We'll see. I'm going with my Giants. I'm going with my Giants.
Really?
Will I
And
be
I don't blame
terribly? Yeah, I'm going with
Shocking.
them. And then will I be like? I won't be like devastated if we don't pull it off. I think we can pull it off. But I'm proud of what the team has done this year. So I'm feeling good about it. I just want a good game. I want a good
All right.
game. All right, let's go to this next one. So we got, I
Bengals and Bills.
yeah, I'm just off the bat for me. I'm going with the Bengals.
Me too. To
I
me, the
don't know why
Bengals
my
are
gut says the Bengals.
my gut's been telling me the Bengals. To me, the Bengals is about to win the game that got canceled. And I think the Bengals they're just, you got Higgins, Chase, and Boyd. That's too much with Hurst. I mean, that's just too much. I think that they're gonna go out there and they're gonna really give the Bills some blues.
The
That's
offensive
where I rather.
line. I'm sorry. Were you done, Tanisha? I'm sorry.
Yeah, yep, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
I'm concerned about the Bengals tackle
Yeah,
situation. I
yeah.
think that could eat them alive in Rich Stadium in Buffalo. Joe Burrow does have the 3 weapons, and he's a lot better quarterback. He's not inexperienced like Skylar Thompson. So I think Buffalo, if they don't turn the ball over, I just think Buffalo is going to win by 4. Uh, don't get me wrong. I'd love to see Cincinnati play, of course, to line it up to bring it back here. But I just think Buffalo is going to somehow pull this out. What are you feeling, Darren?
Honestly, I've been going with the Bengals. I think the Bengals were going to win that game. I think they were about to jump up 14-3 when they played in Cincinnati. I think they have look. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder as well. We know about Damar Hamlin and the situation. Of course, they're going to try to run him out prior to the game and try to get the crowd emotional. But it could also be a situation just like you saw in Miami. You're on such an emotional high, and you start making mistakes, and they almost lost that game. I believe that
Mm-hmm.
if they turn the ball over like Josh Allen did 3 times, Cincinnati
Oh, you're not.
they do have the weapons to actually
That's
capitalize on it. And
trouble.
so yeah, I think the Bengals do win. I don't, it's not for any. Like, I hope they win because I don't want to have to go to Atlanta. But I do think that they do have the talent. And look, the Bengals create a nightmare matchup situation with their receivers and with Joe Mixon. And look, we have to remember Bob Miller got injured and he's not playing this game. So there, so that's also a situation as well that we need to watch out for. Is even though they have a pretty much a makeshift offensive line, the Bengals do. Really, can the Bills get after? Can he get after? Because look, we've seen when they play Kansas City, that Joe Burrows can get that ball out and get it out quickly.
Yep, he
Yeah,
can.
I think, and I agree with you guys. But Shaggy, that is a concern on his line. But Joe Burrows is a I don't know what's the word I'm looking for.
A
That dude is
dog.
slick. He
The
comes
Bengals
out
look,
of there.
yeah,
Yeah, he
the
comes out of there. You like, damn, how was he not tackled?
The
Yep,
Bengals look better.
he's
The Bengals look better to me against the Chiefs in the 3 games from the 2 games last year to this year. It seemed like this year when we played the Bengals, we really had to go outside the box. We did things. We were down 3 points in the middle of the 3rd quarter, and on 4th and goal to 3, they go for it and they got the touchdown. But it just seemed like the Bengals really controlled that game. Granted, it took Travis Kelce's fumble to get Bengals back into it, but it seemed like they're
Yeah.
a lot better team and they create a lot of matchup problems with the Chiefs.
Yeah, and Joe Burrows is just that guy. He ain't making no excuses. Joe Burrow,
Right.
that's one thing I gotta give Joe Burrow. He make Joe, you ain't never gonna hear Joe Burrow. And that's one thing I like about him. I like about Pat. There's never any excuses, right? They come
right.
out, we lost, we didn't get it done. That it may be as simple as that. He ain't gonna say I was missing 2. We had a lot of injuries. Here some other coaches, we were missing this person, missing that person. We tried to piece it together. They just outplayed us. No, we lost. And so
Yep.
he's that guy. He's thinking of ways right now. Okay, how can I get around all of this stuff?
Yep.
Because he comes out of there sometimes, and even watching him all year. I'm like, damn, how did he get away? How was he not
Right.
sacked? It'll drive you crazy. It will drive you
Right.
crazy. So I'm going with the Bengals. I want a good game. I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think all the games are going to be good. I think these 2 games, I don't know, they're just more. It's more to it, or I think
The
people feel like,
storyline, I think the biggest thing is the storyline because
yeah,
Yep.
it really seems like the NFL is trying to push a Bills Chiefs game in Atlanta with this neutral site stuff, and
I
that's
just
that's
don't.
I
I
really
just
don't
don't
like
want them
that.
to cheat him out of it. I want them to
right.
be a fair game,
I
and
want,
whoever wins, and I don't
yeah.
care who it is. I
I don't
think
want the
after,
officials. Right.
yeah, after
I'm tired of that.
unlike Shaggy, I felt like I walked away from that Bengals game thinking that the Chiefs should have won that game, and the Chiefs can absolutely beat the Bengals. And if we see them again, so I don't care who wins. I don't care if it's the Bills or the Bengals. I walked away from both of those games thinking that the Chiefs could have easily won those games. So they made a
should have
few.
won those games.
Yeah, they made some mistakes. So
We got to get the Chiefs past them.
I think the Bengals are gonna win. But yeah,
And
I think the
see,
Bengals are gonna win.
I know y'all start talking like the Chiefs already won that game. Chiefs got to win their game first, so it don't matter. Let's
Yeah.
get the Chiefs past the Jags because I think the
Absolutely.
Chiefs can do it too. So let's
Not
cover this.
disrespecting the Jags at all.
Yeah, this one right here, Tanisha. I'm gonna let you start off.
Of course. I think Dallas is gonna win this game because I think Dallas is going to be the team that finally gets Purdy to get off that and get to running and get to shuffling. And I think he's gonna make some mistakes. And I think we got the guys that can capitalize on that. And if we get that running game going, and get Pollard and get Zeke in there, I think we're gonna be able to handle this. It's gonna be a close game, but I think Dallas will win. All I need is a good game from Dak. I don't need him to turn the ball over, and we're gonna be okay.
Okay,
That's what I think.
What you think, Shaggy?
31-21 Dallas. Brock Purdy's going to run out of his rookie luck. Dallas is too focused, and they'll get it. What do you think, Darren?
I think at the end of the day, I think this is going to be the end of the road for the Dallas Cowboys. I'd love to see them to advance, but look, I mean, they talk about Micah Parsons, but look, man, Micah Parsons is going to be going up against Trent Williams. That's a man out there, and I just don't see. And I think the 49ers just have too many weapons to where I trust Kyle Shanahan's play calling more than I do Kellen Winslow. So that's where I'm going with it.
Kellen Moore.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
no problem.
I'm gonna have to go with Darren on this one. I think the 49ers, I think they have the edge. They're at home, they're a complete team, and they're a better coach team. I'm just gonna go with that. Purdy, I think if he just does what he don't try to do too much, just does what it is, and it doesn't take, and it's tough because it's to me, it doesn't take anything. I think if you put the Cowboys against anybody else, this point, I think they could beat those teams and make it to that conference championship. They just got a bad draw here because the 49ers are like on an 11-game winning streak. They're playing well. And if the Cowboys pull it off, hats off to them. They just haven't had the consistency. And that's
what bothers me
this year. They can sit there up,
well, I'm not
down.
gonna
It's
lie.
like, who are you? Yeah, it's like what team is going to show up? Yeah,
I'm nervous.
It's just like what team's going to show. Like you got Purdy. We keep talking about Purdy, but you got Christian McCaffrey. You got Debo. You got Ayu. You got Kittle. You got so much going on. Then you turn around to the defense. Them dudes are balling out. Bosa's like all over the place.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna have to stop him. And it's just Kyle, like I said, Kyle Shanahan and DeMarco, they're calling good games. They're pumped up. And that team, the defense is loving the offense loving the special teams, everybody loving everybody. It's just like they're in sync. And I think from top to bottom, from the rooter to the tutor, I'm giving it to the I'm giving it to the I don't think it's a blowout or anything like that. I think a close game. I just think they get edged out.
Well, I'm just gonna tell you, don't y'all worry about little old Dak. He gonna come through for me. Don't y'all worry.
I don't even think Dak's gonna have a bad game. I just think they're gonna get edged out, and that's the thing. I don't think the Cowboys are gonna have a bad game. I just think they're gonna get edged out by a team that's a little better coached. That's why I say any of those teams playing the Giants or Philly, I think they would beat them at this point.
Okay.
So I just think the 49ers are just that team. I don't know. They look like they did, when they played when they went to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs.
All right. We're going to see.
Good.
It's going to be a good one. All right. Let's talk about some of these coaches getting the axe.
It was crazy because we were talking about, okay, so they say that Greg Roman, they say he wasn't fired. He stepped down. Okay, somebody had a conversation with him. You ain't stepping down.
Nah,
you making money. You're not stepping down. You're like, they're like, okay, you can say you stepped down. We're going to pay you some money or whatever from the Ravens. I think, I don't think he did a horrible job. Look at what they had. That team was never name people in that team who you would call like stars. Or not even stars. You had Jackson, he got hurt.
Stars are more on the defensive side of football.
Oh, we had
exactly
Mark Andrews.
Yeah,
and that's it. Yeah, but they gave up. Guess who they gave up? They gave up last year. Wink Martindale. It was time for him to go. And look what he's done with the Giants. So that wasn't a smart move, but that's a whole nother story. What you got, Shaggy? You quiet over
there? It's hard for me to think about. I mean, why Baltimore would do that, or I know
Mm-mm.
I know why Lombardi did it, and I know, and it seems like, I mean, I know why Lombardi's gone with the Chargers, but the Cardinal situation, I think that's more on Kyler Murray and the Cliff Kingsbury situation. It just seems like they really pulled the rug out from under him. I thought he at least deserved another year. What do you think, Darren?
Well, I mean, no, I thought he should have been fired. You can't.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you can't go. What was it? They were 7-0, and got embarrassed on national television first round of the playoffs last year, and then you didn't get better. You actually got worse this time around. So, and you saw on national television on what was it, Monday Night Football, where Kyler Murray is cursing them out. You know,
Yeah.
I
I,
mean that.
Yeah.
You can't do
Cliff
that.
didn't
And
have that team. He lost that team.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you
so
know what? But let me tell y'all something. And I'm gonna say it. I mean, I didn't think Cliff should be fired this year.
Tanisha did
I
that.
didn't
I
I
know.
didn't think Cliff should have been hired, but I didn't think he should have been fired this year.
I
Um, Cliff. I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, everybody was hurt. He loses Ertz. He loses. I mean, what? Hobbs. D Hop didn't even get there. The 6 games into the season. You lose. You lose your number one. Your other number one wide receiver. Then you go up here and you get Hollywood. Then Hollywood comes in here. I mean, you end up having to go get Rock. I mean, it was complete chaos. Connors was hurt. I mean, that team was riddled. This was one time where you could honestly say he really was working with scraps. I mean, I know it's the next man up, but hell, it wasn't no more men to get. It wasn't no more men to come up. He was,
too
He
many.
just
so to
he
me, this wasn't the year to fire him. Like I said, he never should have been hired. In my opinion, I thought he failed upwards,
when
and
and
when you
and I
that's
think
hard
that
to
was
do.
it. I
when
think
you
that was
bring
the thing.
when you
Go
bring
ahead.
in a coach and a quarterback together in a marriage. I mean, you had Josh Rosen and your other coach, and they're like, no, we're
Hmm.
going to get rid of Josh Rosen. We're going to get this coach. We're going to bring in Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler
Kyler.
Murray, and we're going to put them together. Just seemed like you give it more than 2 years.
They
You know
don't
what I
know what they're
mean?
doing in
It just
Arizona. I'm
seemed
convinced of that.
like it
They
was
got
the
Nah.
decision. Okay, well, it
no,
didn't
they
work.
had
It's
3 years
over. You got
together.
it. You got to
they were there for
build
3
together. You got
years.
to work
Yeah,
together.
they
Well,
had three
They
still,
years
were
I know,
together.
they were
but
there for
still,
3 years.
One of them they made the
but
playoffs. One year they made the playoffs. They ended up
but
getting hurt,
still my
having a bunch of
but still my
injuries.
point is you brought in a coach and a quarterback to put them together to make it work. It just seems like, in my opinion, they're not giving
They
these
gave up.
people enough time. Like Sam Darnold of the Jets. How long did they give him?
They
3 years, and he's
Yeah,
No,
like,
he
but
should
but
not
but
have.
not
Shaggy,
long
but
enough.
Shaggy. Here's the
That was
thing.
a
Not long
bad move.
enough.
But
Hold
the
on, but
thing with
Not
the
Shaggy,
long enough.
Arizona Cardinals,
hold on.
hold on a
Here's the
second,
thing.
Darren. Wait
When
a
you
minute. Let me
have,
finish.
no, I'm saying when you have Doug Peterson coming in one year, taking a team that was the worst team in the league, and he takes them to a division title and then the playoffs, and you have Brian Daboll with the Giants doing that. I mean, it's all about coaching and finding the right pieces for that organization. And so, no,
Well, he should
the
have,
3 years
like
was
he
far
said,
too long for him.
those guys are
No.
proven. They're proven at the NFL level. So don't even compare them to that. I
I
think
just
the Arizona
Brian
Cardinals,
Daboll wasn't proven
I
how.
I
he was
I
because he
just
was a quarterback coach. But I'm just saying, like if you look at Arizona, look at Steve Wilkes. They gave him 1 year.
yeah. See,
Yep.
and it was just
That was wrong. I think it's something in the Arizona, and then you give him 1 year, and you go, I'm going to hire this guy. What? Why is anybody think about it? Answer
it
this
just
question for me.
it,
Why is anybody even looking at a Cliff Kingsbury who ain't won nothing?
because of Patrick Mahomes.
Thank you.
They
Thank
saw
you.
they
That
saw
was it.
Patrick
So they
Mahomes throw
hired him for
50
the
touchdowns.
wrong reasons to start
Yeah,
with.
but
Yes. So
And
that
they
was a
thought,
yep.
wow,
bad
this guy
hire.
would be good with Kyler Murray. And it just seemed like if you're going to go that route, if you're going to get rid of the previous head coach and quarterback that you got in the first round, you have to give it longer than 3 years, especially when you come off a playoff, just because you put them together.
Yeah. It's a lot of
Yeah.
team. I mean, like you say, from quarterbacks, from coaching and all that, they don't make the right decisions. And it shows up. Look at Nathaniel Hackett, right?
Yep.
He needed to go. He needed to go. I
Right.
forgot who's looking at him the Jets are looking at him as an offensive coordinator, and maybe he's a good offensive coordinator. So go ahead and put him and let him do that. Because some people just
Right.
can't run. Some people are better as assistants or focusing on they can't run an entire team. Frank
Right.
Well,
Wright, I don't know if that was him. I think Frank Wright just got a bad. I mean, whoever made the decision to get Matt Ryan, that's where you went wrong. So
Right.
whoever thought
well,
Matt Ryan was going to come and save the day, that's where you went wrong with them. And then Matt Rule, that was always a bad pick.
well.
But you're going to pay these guys, Cliff's in Thailand, and everybody's all go ahead, Tanisha. I cut you off a couple of
No,
times.
no, 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 no. No, knock that out. Clips in Thailand. I was just about to say. I saw his girlfriend tweeted, was wondering where he was at. I don't
But
think he coming back. I don't think
right,
he coming back. You got a
Byron
one-way ticket.
Byron Leftwich kind of threw me on that, and they're gonna blame that on him. And he's a dude that won when they were healthy. And you had Gronkowski, you had a Brown, Antonio Brown, you had all these guys that were healthy, and then now he's the reason you lost. No, Tom Brady's 150 years old. That's part of the reason that you lost. So he doesn't have that same team.
Unnecessary roughness. You say 150, did you? You say 150, did you? Good Lord. But I tell you one thing though.
I think some more are going to drop after this weekend.
Right?
There's always got to be a fall guy. I mean, you look at and we didn't put them all up here because these are the ones I couldn't even go through everybody that. But I look at what who was it? Is it the Chargers like fired everybody except for Staley?
Yep. Got rid of
them all. Clean
house.
Except for him. And I'm like, really? He's the guy that you keep?
Yeah, I don't understand that. That made no sense. And then he kind of cocky too. I don't like the dude. I'll be honest, it's just kind of smug. Something about him, the way he kind of blamed everything else. I'm like, dude, come on now. You're the defensive guy.
He reminds me of a young Sheldon.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah,
you're right.
A young Sheldon. Yeah.
Absolutely. Rubbing everybody wrong because he think he better than everybody else. Yeah, with them crazy play calling and all that nonsense. The statistic guy. Yeah, okay. He got another year.
We got some sports news coming up before you guys drop off, Shaggy and Darren. Give me some closing thoughts on what you think is going to happen this weekend, Shaggy. How you feeling about the playoffs? Who's in it and all that stuff, and who your Super Bowl picks before we even this weekend even.
I like the Chiefs and the Bills this weekend, and I like Dallas, and I'm gonna go with the Giants. I think they're gonna play that NFC Championship game and in Dallas, and I think the AFC Championship game will be in Atlanta. I feel that's just what it will be. I want Cincinnati, of course, and of course, I want the Chiefs to play, but I think Patrick Mahomes has played in 4 straight AFC Championship games at Arrowhead. It looks like if it is anywhere else, it will be at Atlanta. But that's what I believe will happen. Like I said, I want Cincinnati, and I want to thank you all for having me on your show. Maybe I can come back in a couple weeks.
Absolutely, but tell everybody where they can find you.
Find me on YouTube under Shaggy Shane Chiefs, and I also do some videos with Starcade Media called Arrowhead Allies with Brian B. Shinen from Hot 103 Jams. We do Arrowhead Kickoff with Rich Baldinger, who's on Metro Sports locally here in Kansas City on Sundays or Saturdays, about 30 minutes before the game. So check out Arrowhead Allies and Starcade Media. Noah Garoniger and Clint Schweitzer will be on Radio Row, so I'm sure they'll run into Darren on Radio Row down there in Arizona. And just check me out there on Starcade. Check me out on Shaggy Shane YouTube. And like I said, I'd like to be back in a couple weeks, maybe preview and talk about the Super Bowl coming up. What do you think?
Absolutely. You're always welcome. You're always welcome.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you guys. You ladies do a great job, and Darren's always kicking ass, keeping us covered.
Oh yeah, and you got us covered too, because you're posting out stuff every week or whatever. Feel the love.
And we are.
I try to jump on
grateful.
Right after all the Chiefs games get on YouTube. I'm putting the comments in there or whatever. So I love that feedback.
And I'll be on my YouTube live immediately after the game, breaking it down. And I appreciate you both always watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's fun because the emotions are there and everything right after the game. So that's fun.
Yeah, Darren. Man. My mom used to love to watch you, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Love to watch you.
Darren, all right, what you got? And tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, of course, you can find me via social media platforms as well as KOKC with the ship Saturday morning at 8 a.m. along with Sunday nights at 8 p.m. on 106.7 FM at 1540 a.m. in Parsons, Kansas. I do have the Chiefs winning against the Jags. I've also got them going up against Cincinnati here. If it is Buffalo, I guess I have to go to Atlanta next weekend. And then I do have, again, I got Philadelphia taking on the 49ers as well. So when it's all said and done, of course, you can catch me via social media, myself and Steve Walls. We'll be doing our pregame cheat sheet Saturday at 2 o'clock, I believe, 2 o'clock Central. We go about an hour and a half before the game. And then, of course, we'll bring you locker room coverage along with the pressers right after the game with Andy and Patrick and whoever else. So hopefully the season will be extended after Saturday, and we can sit back on Sunday and see who the Chiefs will hopefully be playing the following week in the Arrowhead Invitational tournament. So
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys coming and joining us.
Thank you so much.
As always, and we are going to let y'all drop off, and we're going to finish out with a little bit of news that we have. Thanks. All right. So, Tinesha, we got a little sports news. Last week, I was fumbling all over the place trying to figure out his name. So, Peyton Hillis. So, I think it's happy to hear he's continuing to improve after the incident, involving him saving his children. So, what a blessing. And people were putting out prayers for him. So it's, like they say, prayer works, right?
That's a hero, guys. Put him in his prayer. That's a hero. That's a man that went down and saved his family. And I my prayers with him. I'm glad he's getting better. And you guys keep praying this man can get back to enjoy those children that he so desperately saved.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then in some WNBA news, so the 2021 WNBA MVP, she requested and received a trade to the New York Liberty. So I think that team, and then there's some chatter in the background about Breanna Stewart that I'm hearing that is over in Seattle. She's up to go somewhere, and if she goes to New York, they're like Breanna Stewart, her and Anescu, that's going to be a powerhouse team. So
trouble in our way. Yeah, they winning that. That's going to be rough.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
There. That's a lot. More to definitely come. I think Vegas is still tough, but more to come on that team. So I think I wish her well. She's a local product. So I wish her well. She'll be up there in New York. And of course,
I know this one is close and dear to your heart because I know how you feel about it. Go ahead.
Been following the kids since high school. Been following Maya Moore since high school. And I was a little down when she said, I'm stepping away. I never thought, when she said she was stepping away, I never thought she was coming back. I never thought she was coming back. So I accepted it. I never thought she was coming back because there was so much. And then watching the stories and everything that she's doing, I know she's one of the best athletes out there. But I think, and I know she's just as much as a good person as she is an athlete. So doing what she's doing and stepping away, she has nothing to prove. The woman got all kinds of gold medals, NCAA championships, MVPs, WNBA championships, all that stuff. She's got it all. So, now she has a family, a husband, a child, and a new book. So, happy for her and wish her the very, very best.
Absolutely. That woman was complete. It's okay to have more than one dream. You know what I mean? And I feel like she's living the ultimate life. She was able to accomplish all these amazing feats in professional sports. And now exactly at a very young age, and now she has moved on to the next chapter of her life, and it seems that she has settled right into that. And I found that's difficult for athletes to walk away or be cut off short. She walked away and she has not looked back. I'm so happy for her. No regrets. Everything seems to be going well. She has a child now. Congratulations, Maya. The game owes you. You'll be in the Hall of Fame one day.
And, absolutely. Yeah.
You'll be in the Hall of Fame one day, and congrats.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, that wraps it up. We're looking forward to this weekend. I see how Darren snuck in there. We ain't say nothing about that Chiefs background, so we're gonna let it go. I told him I need a Giants background, but that's okay. We good. So Tinesha, what do we tell everybody?
Well, what do you think? We tell them if we talking about it, you need to hear about it. And baby, what do you say? Always do what, Linda?
Remember, be kind and be blessed. It's free. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to Two Gems and a Mic. Be sure to subscribe and follow. Until next time, remember, be kind, be blessed. Peace.